Ladies and gentlemen, Posey Parker visited Australia and the trans activists are not happy. Now, if you don't remember, Posey Parker is that chick who in the UK posted a billboard of the definition of woman and it was adult human female, and she got into a lot of trouble for that. Here, look at this.
A giant poster quoting a Google dictionary definition of the word woman has been removed from a wall in Liverpool. The poster read, woman, women, noun, adult, human, female. But according to one LGBTQ activist, it qualified as hate speech. What is so offensive about the dictionary definition of women?
There is nothing inherently offensive with the dictionary definition of women. That really isn't what this was about at all. This is about what that particular poster presented in that particular way, in that particular location, represents, and what the underlying meaning and the thinking that was driving putting up that poster.
The point of this campaign was simply to highlight the absurdity that in 2018, saying woman equals adult human female is an offensive thing to say. And Mr. Harrop delightfully has proven that point by having a tantrum and contacting every CEO or every executive on the board of PrimeSite until it got removed.
Absolutely shocking. Now she has the nerve to visit Australia and talk about women's rights. More after this quick sponsor. If you've ever walked into a health food store or flipped on the TV, you've no doubt heard of the ketogenic diet or the keto diet. It's one of the most popular diet trends in the world right now. Keto Elevate is specifically designed to help quickly and efficiently raise your ketone levels, so you can reap a lot of the benefits of the keto diet lifestyle without all the restrictions. Visit ketowithbear.com and you can get a whopping 51% off your first shipment of Keto Elevate and free shipping in the US. Alright, let's pause for a sec. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got myself into this situation. No, that's clearly not me. But this is me in like Christmas of 2021, and this is me like 7 months later. Now, you might not be able to tell because I'm a pretty stocky guy, but that's about 27 kilograms less gut, or about 59 pounds, as you Americans would say. Now, us YouTubers like to take on sponsorships, but this one is a real winner. I used Keto Elevate over 7 months or so, along with a fairly reasonable diet, and I got that result. So if you need to lose some pudding, go to ketowithbear.com and get a whopping 51% off today. Link in the description. LGBTQI in Perth protest over visiting anti-trans activist Kelly J. Keane. And here's a picture. Oh, they don't seem too happy, do they? Perth LGBTQI protesters all but drowned out visiting anti-transgender activist Kelly J. Keane at an appearance on Tuesday. About 150 protesters shouted, "Posey Parker, you can't hide. You have Nazis on your side." While supporters of Miss Keane turned fire, telling them to get a job and stop the genocide. I mean, it's just fucking ridiculous. No matter who's protesting these days, it's like, you're doing genocide. No, you're doing genocide. Or you're Hitler. No, you're Hitler. I mean, can't we just sit down and talk about the issues, for fuck's sake? Miss Keane, who also goes by the moniker Posey Parker, is in Perth as a part of an Australia-wide tour, understood to be at least partly sponsored by CPAC Network, a conservative organisation which, among other things, is campaigning against The Voice. Okay, I don't know what that means. What's The Voice? It's unclear whether the reference to snazzies by protesters referred to Miss Keane's appearance in videos with white nationalists, or an event she organised in January at which one of the speakers quoted Adolf Hitler, drawing a parallel between what he called the big lie, Jewish people discrediting Germany's war efforts, and those supporting trans rights. See, it all comes back to Nazis, doesn't it? Miss Keane, who prefers to describe herself as a women's rights activist, but mostly campaigns on opposing transgender rights, told the crowd of about 100 people, including one wearing a One Nation t-shirt and carrying a cardboard cutout of Pauline Hanson, that it was time for politicians to be brave. You see, in Australia, Pauline Hanson is, say Hitler and the devil had a baby and it had red hair and it had some opinions about immigration. That's Pauline Hanson. I actually quite like her. I don't agree with all her policies, but she's a funny old duck.
Sam, I've got a bone to pick with you because on Kyle and Jackie O, you put out there that I said the C word to you. I called you a C word. That is an absolute lie.
It is absolutely true.
I called you a little prick. I've never used the C word.
You definitely use the C word.
And I don't use it.
You use the C word with me.
Sam, you're lying. You're absolutely lying, and I'll say that to you. I called you a little prick, and I'll stand by that.
Well,
I'm just going to say, politicians, the time to be brave is now. Don't wait until you're jumping on the next bandwagon, she said. The last politician to run on an overtly anti-trans platform, former Prime Minister Scott Morrison's pick as Liberal candidate for the seat of Warringah, Catherine Devers or some shit, failed to win the seat. The Perth rally came a day after the organisation Miss Keane founded, Standing for Women, put out a media release wrongfully claiming that WA was poised to introduce new laws that would, among other things, allow 12-year-olds to change their sex without safeguards, or allow any man to identify into female prisons or sporting competitions. It claimed the government was considering a new bill on transgender rights that had gone through a parliamentary legal and safety committee and would include a number of reforms. Although the WA government is, as has been previously announced, planning reforms to make it easier for people to change their sex, no bill has been introduced to Parliament or considered by a committee. The proposed reforms essentially mean that instead of providing proof of surgery, a transgender man or woman would need to provide a certificate from a doctor or psychologist confirming they have received relevant clinical treatment. Relatively unknown in Australia, Miss Keane has a high profile in the UK, where she campaigns against transgender rights. Since arriving in Australia, she's spoken out against allowing girls under 16 to access contraception or abortion. Asked about Miss Keane's presence in Perth, a spokesperson for trans folk of WA said the support group was deeply concerned by the exclusionary attitudes and harmful rhetoric espoused by some individuals who use their platform to attack and marginalise transgender women. We know for a fact, through the lived experience of our community and numerous peer-reviewed studies, that the platforming of these violent anti-trans voices leads to a measurable increase in violence on our community, it said. We believe that women's rights are for all women, including trans women and trans feminine people. It's important that we advocate for the rights and safety of all women, regardless of their gender identity. What? All women, regardless of their gender identity. You know what? This is one of those things that ties me up in a knot. You know when all those hippie protesters are like, trans rights are human rights. Okay, human rights exist. You're a human, you have human rights. What the fuck are trans rights? Is there another list of rights that trans people have? And if there is, can I please have a list? Okay, so this Callie J. Keane, aka Posey Parker, came to Australia and did a series of talks called Let Women Speak. She was in Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, Perth, as we've discussed, and all she got were these psycho-trans protesters. Because letting women speak is transphobic. Here's a quick montage.
Sometimes the truth hurts, and sometimes it hurts a lot. That's why a lot of us are actually living our own lives. But hey, we have to face the truth. We can allow the truth to hurt our feelings, and of course that is a choice. But it doesn't change the fact that truth is truth.
Yeah, so they all seem like obviously lovely people. But this got me thinking, what in the fuck are trans rights? And what are all these people protesting for? I think I'm going to have to do a video on that. Stand by for that. What exactly are trans rights? And like I said before, can I please get a list of them? If you have any inkling, please leave them down below in the comments or at my super duper gay half stepbrother-in-law's Twitter account, bskills, with 3 L's and an at the start. I'll see you next time, homies. Ta-ta. Goodbye.
Recession, session.